This video is part of the Hopping into Easter Open Challenge. This challenge happens every month on the 1st, and I'll tell you a little bit about it after the first project. Since the theme was Hopping into Easter, I decided to do some bunny signs. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Every bunny welcome. So I'm going to show you the supplies here. It's basically a bunch of Dollar Tree stuff with some Cricut words. So we have these bunny pics came from Dollar Tree. This welcome fence sign came from Dollar Tree, as well as the base for what I'm making came from Dollar Tree. And that little canvas, a burlap canvas, also came from Dollar Tree. To start things off, we're going to pry that galvanized chicken off, and it comes off pretty easy. And I'm going to use the back of this sign, but I did want to get the chicken off and save it for a later project. So I just do a little bit of paper peeling, and it wasn't coming off very well, so I just left it. I peeled the paper off those two little banner things, and that came off fine. So I'm going to put the wood-looking vinyl on those, as well as on the fence part. And that's the vinyl that I picked up when I was in Canada recently at the dollar store. It has a bit of a stretch to it, so I do try and cut it really close, because the sanding doesn't work very well. This is probably the only vinyl or background I've found that is difficult to sand. It has a bit of a stretch to it. But I got it on there okay, and I managed to cut it more or less to the right shape. And I'm coming in with some hazelnut chalk paint, and I put some gray in there. I think it's called Chateau. Then I dipped my I think it's a fan brush in some dark gray, and I'm doing some lines in what I already put there. And you'll notice I'm not painting in the middle, because that's where I'll be gluing the fence. And I just check there to make sure everything's covered that needs to be. And then I'm going back over it with the hazelnut color, just sort of smudging the lines. And I did that while the paint was still wet. Then I poured on some Elmer's wood glue. I just painted that on with a regular paintbrush, and then I came in with some hot glue in the spaces in between. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the vinyl on the two little banners, and that's where my Every Bunny sentiment is going to be. And I did 2 at a time, so it would be easier. So I just press it down. Then I come in with an X-Acto knife and get all the nicks and crannies there. And this knife I actually got off Temu, and it comes with a little container with a whole bunch of different shapes and sizes of knives. And I actually chose this one for this project. See, I just folded it in half there and trimmed in between. And now for the bunny in this project, I cut the skewer off this little bunny head, and his ears were kind of flopping to one side, and I thought that was perfect, so I just went ahead and glued him down that way. Now I'm going to show you how I do the Cricut words. This is the regular way to put words or an image onto your project. So you design your words and your sizes. You cut it on your Cricut. Then you have it on like the base, and you put your transfer tape on top of it. And then you pull the base up. You actually flip it upside down, pull the base up. That's what I just did. And I'm just double checking where the middle is, and then I'm going to press this down. And sometimes I have trouble pulling up the transfer tape, but this time it came up really well. Then I'm going to do the same for every bunny. I cut it and weeded away the background. And I'll do the same as I did on top. Now I'm just going to hot glue the banners on, as well as the 5x7 canvas with the bunny on it. And it was a perfect size for this project. Couldn't have asked for a better size. So welcome everybody. Jumping in with a little bit more information about the playlist. It happens every month on the 1st. This month's theme is hopping into Easter. So I chose to do some bunny decor. Our hosts are Amanda from 6 Kids and a Glue Gun and Brenda from Rustic and Lace DIY. Their links, as well as a link to the playlist, will be in my description box below. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the video. Happy Easter! Here are some of the supplies I'll be using for this project. Ribbon remnant, green vinyl cricket word, this galvanized bunny. I'm going to take that off the sign. I have these turquoise beads from my jewelry making days. I have this wood circle that I got on Amazon. Wood bead garland I got from Temu, and a pizza pan I got from the Dollar Tree. Now I forgot to sand this to make the paint, adhere better. So I'm going to do a couple coats. I'm going to start with a rough coat, and then I'm going to go back over it. I'm going to pay special attention to the outside edges because that's what you're going to see most. And I also painted the wood around in white as well. Now, I don't know if y'all's wood circle have this peel-off paper on the back, but I actually used a couple of them before I realized it could even come off. And the whole point in these projects is to layer a bunch of things together to add texture to the sign, because cricket words can be pretty flat. So you want to add something to it to, bring it alive. So there's that little bunny that I pried off the other sign. I'm going to leave that burlap bow on there, but I'm going to add a twine bow on top of it just to add a little more dimension. Now I made a needle out of a piece of floral wire, and I just folded it and put the string in the fold and then push the tip part of it through the bead. And every once in a while I had to trim the end or make a new one. But the turquoise beads have pretty small holes because they're not made for crafts, they're made for jewelry making. Now there was a few beads that I couldn't fit on, but for the most part a good yank was all it needed. And I just thought I was trying to mimic some of the colors in that really cool bow. It's a very spring color bow. I actually got it as part of craft kit from Amber Strong when I was doing her Creative Haven, I think it's called. So I did that for a little while, and that ribbon was part of one of the kits. So the turquoise beads are mimicking one of the colors from the ribbon. And I thought it would look really good with the pale wood beads. And I'm really glad I decided to do that because I love the way it looks. Now I'm measuring, but even when I measure, it seems to be off center. But I do my best. So I'm putting that Fix-All adhesive from the Dollar Tree on the back of the wood. And it's kind of watery, so I had to watch it started to run. And again, I don't know why I'm still measuring. Let's get some hot glue on there, shall we? And I like to do 2 glues, especially when we're using metal, because sometimes hot glue and metal don't play nice. Now I'm putting more of that Fix-All adhesive around the wood, and that's where our little turquoise wood garland is going. And I thought it would be cool, since the bunny was so small, I thought it would be cool to add layers. So instead of putting the bunny on the pizza tin, I thought it would be cool to put it on the wood. Now, I missed a bunch of footage here at the end. Happy Easter was a cricket word that I put on, and then I just made a little sprig for the top. Better look at the final reveal. Hippity Hoppity. So we're using this home sign from Dollar Tree. And I was going to use the mop there, but I changed my mind. There's that ribbon that I used in the previous project. And I'm just going to give this sign a white coat. And then I'm dragging some hazelnut with my Cricut spatula up and down. And then I'll use the same paintbrush to blend it in. So the Cricut word in this project is going to be a little bit different. I'm actually going to use it as a stencil. I happen to have a stencil vinyl. It's much thinner than the vinyl you would use for the words. And what you do is, instead of pulling off the background, you pull off or weed what you want to keep. That kind of doesn't make sense, does it? You basically weed out what you would normally leave in, and you get that negative image that you then put the paint onto. And so there's a little bunny bottom. And I like it a lot, but we need some texture. So I'll show you what I do for that. This is the stencil for the 2 words, Hippity Hoppity. Like the song says, Hippity Hoppity, Easter's on its way. So you see how I weeded out the letters, put the base onto the transfer tape, and now putting the transfer tape down onto the sign, and just very carefully pulling it up. And I did get the middle of the P back in there. You just got to be careful. My sponge is a little bit too big for this, so I had some that went down on the edges, on some of the edges. So what I do, I like to take out any of the weeded stuff while the paint is still wet. So either right away or when it's still tacky. And I could have printed up another layer of Cricut to make these bunny paws, but I figured I would just pull up, and then I was going to fill it in, and I thought, you know what, I kind of like how it looks, so I left it. I was actually going to make like little gray paws, or little pinkish gray paws, but when I pulled out the middle parts, I thought it looked pretty good. Now I only need really half a pom-pom here, so I just wrapped some yarn around my fingers, nice and thick, and I took a same color yarn and tied it in the middle, and then I'm going to come in with a nice sharp pair of scissors and cut all the loops. And it seemed like super thick when it's on my hand, but then when I make it and start fluffing it up, it's really good that I was only trying to make a one-sided pom-pom because it was not as full as I thought it would be. So I just pulled all the yarn to one side, put some hot glue down on the painted bunny tail, and put my pom-pom right on top of it. So there's our texture, so we're adding some dimension to the sign instead of the flat words and image. Now I thought I was done, and I went to bed, and I thought of this idea while I was falling asleep. So I took the 2 tassels from that wood garland I used in the previous project, and I'm just going to hot glue the little strings down there and then go around the border with some Dollar Tree rope. So I did a single piece of rope for the bottom, and then the rest I wrapped around the corners. I didn't do anything to the back. I kind of like the sign, and I didn't think I was going to be gluing the rope, but the rope border covered up the holes, so I went ahead and attached the rope to the back. And I had a scrap piece of lace, so I just brought that across to help the rope stay on there better. And the final reveal is coming right up.